Nowadays, having a healthy self-esteem is harder than it used to be. Feeling down and less confident time to time is part of life. However, when it overpowers everything else in one's life, it becomes a serious issue. Sadly, positive thoughts are easily replaced by negative ones, and negative ones are difficultly moved. Self esteem is the value someone accords to himself and is forged based on past and present experiences. Therefore, it is easily influenced by elements from the outside, such as parents, friends, or the media. Often, low self esteem is caused by a large gap between reality or what the person believes is real and expectation a person has about himself. At some point, people can develop eating disorder, anxiety, and even depression, self mutilation, or in extreme cases of low self esteem, suicide. Too many people believe they are worth little or nothing, and few relevant actions are taken because it's such an insidious process. Self esteem is the opinion of someone about himself. However, it's often considered like the truth, even though it's not. This opinion is based on one's experience of life and what he deduced of it. If the conclusion is bad, low self-esteem will most likely be the result. Others' opinion will also influence someone's mindset as well as the absence of something like love or recognition. The prediction someone will make based on its experience might be right, but can also lead to biased thinking, which contributes to low self esteem. It can lead to negative anticipation and anxiety. Moreover, besides one's own expectation, there's also expectations that come from outside, disapproving authority or disappointing loving ones. Others' expectation can come in many forms. If someone grew with relatives or teachers that were telling him he's never good enough, it's difficult to be self-confident. If the person has no recognition or congratulations for his work, he will probably not value himself a lot, even though he succeeded. Even worse, conflicts in family and general negative atmosphere at home can lead to low self-esteem. Bullying can also be a traumatic experience and mark someone for life. In 2005, the US Department of Justice found that around 20% of students between the age of 12 and 18 reported they were bullied at school in the previous 6 months. Bullies can leave bruises, stomach pain due to anxiety, black eyes, etc. But beyond physical harm is psychological damage that may or may not follow someone for his entire life. It's this kind of wounds that leads to low self-esteem, as they are extremely difficult and slow to heal. The media is an external source of unrealistic expectations so big it deserves to have its own paragraph. Young girls are most likely to develop an eating disorder because of their constant exposure to the media and the fashion industry, which push them to always be thinner. Girls grow in a world where many things are sexualized, and it makes the appearance their main preoccupation. Top models in magazines like Teen Vogue are super thin and are not what girls should aspire to be, since it's not a realistic representation of the average woman's body. In addition, according to the Bridges and al. June 9, 2015, Children as young as 9-year-old are exposed to sexualized products from padded push-up bras to bikini wax. Teen magazines are also full of sex-related topics. These goods are even popular on the internet. Pornography is easily accessible for everyone and forms the main source of sexual education of teens and young adults. This open door to the sex industry is very controversial since it doesn't provide accurate information. In fact, it influences young men and women to have body image and performance standards unrealistic, and what should one do or not do in bed. Our brain takes certain patterns that are natural and based on past experience to evaluate a new situation. However, this process can become distorted and mislead people. Thus, one can have an irrational look on reality even though their thinking process is natural. These irrational thoughts patterns are called cognitive distortions. They could reinforce negative thinking, and that could be the origin of depression and low self-esteem. Cognitive distortions are complex. We can count over 50 of them. For instance, sometimes people take negative details and leave those that are positive, dwelling themselves in negative thoughts. This distortion is called filtering, and like other cognitive distortions, can lead to a vision of reality that is darkened. Sometimes, people also tend to see themselves as the source of every unfortunate event from which they are absolutely not the cause. This is called personalization. Another one that is often found with people that has low self-esteem is and social anxiety is jumping to conclusion. It consists to guess how people are thinking about us without any proof. Usually, humans are made to be able to read someone's facial expression and tone for survival purpose. However, it can be taken to the extreme and be damageable for the mental health. In this distortion, people believe that because one negative event happened once or twice, it will occur over and over again. Sometimes, the subject is conscious of the pattern, but cannot be objective toward it without external help. Otherwise, the patient is often unconscious of his situation. Young girls often base their identity on their body image, neglecting their personality and intelligence, which can lead to eating disorders like anorexia or bulimia. People usually have a general realistic idea of their body. However, a person suffering from an eating disorder has a dramatically distorted image of his body. Indeed, the average woman cannot achieve the supermodel standards. Those impossible expectations will often push some women in an unhealthy mindset or weight. Body image is an important part of self-esteem as it is often based on one's opinion about himself than on facts. Girls during their teenage are more susceptible to fall for the image represented in magazines and televisions. Indeed, study shows that a lot of young girls between 9 and 14 years old are unsatisfied by their body. As a result, some people push themselves through draconic diets that may attend to their life. Humans have a tendency to compare themselves with others. The media takes advantage of this weakness. As a result, people do not like their body and harm themselves. Furthermore, low self-esteem leads some people to self-destructive behaviors like mutilation. Self-injurers has many reasons to harm themselves, and low self-esteem is definitely one of them. Some cut, scratch, burn, or hit themselves for releasing frustration of feeling like a failure. Others do it because they want to punish themselves. Or sometimes they are so much in pain, deep in depression, that they do it thinking that physical pain might distract them from psychological pain. The accumulation of negative thoughts, distorted visions, and anxiety can lead someone to develop suicidal thoughts, as they see no other exit than death. To sum up, when expectation doesn't meet reality or when perception of reality is altered, people risk to develop low self-esteem, which can lead to a mental disorder. Nevertheless, we don't live in a hopeless world, and having a healthy self-esteem is no talent, only hard work. Finally, if advertisements had models that looks more like the average population, the situation would get better.